Sensuality is an enriching experience that transcends mere physical touch. It invites us to explore openness and vulnerability, creating deeper connections with others. By engaging in mindful touch, we enhance our awareness of each other's desires and boundaries. This practice cultivates intimacy as it encourages honest communication and emotional safety. Each caress becomes a dialogue between bodies, transcending words and allowing us to connect on a profound level. Embracing the art of sensuality fosters trust, reigniting passion and curiosity in relationships. It's a journey of discovery, inviting us to celebrate the beauty of human connection through the transformative power of touch.
Hello and welcome to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we have an episode that's all about building a wildly successful business without losing yourself along the way. Our guest today is Lezly Kaye. So welcome to the show, Lezly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely, lovely. So Lezly, before we start our conversation, I'd quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Lezly isn't just any business mentor. So she is a leading CEO architect in Australia, a powerhouse who's built a $60 million empire and a guide for high-achieving women who want it all. So growth, purpose, fulfillment, everything. So Lezly has mastered the art of scaling the businesses while also staying grounded in personal alignment and the well-being. So get ready to dive into the power of resilience, redefining the success, and leading with the pleasure, because Lezly's here to show us it's all possible. So welcome to the show, Lezly.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Lovely, lovely. So Lezly, to start with, let's start big. So how do you see the pleasure and business success working all together? Are they truly compatible, or if you can share?
Yeah. I think everything is compatible if you want it bad enough. I think it's quite easy to I almost want to say put your blinkers on and pretend that the world isn't based in this hedonistic desire for pleasure. Now, some people, when you say the word pleasure, think of sex. Some people, when you say the word pleasure, think of food. Some people, when you say the word pleasure, think of a massage. And I think, combining the world of business and pleasure for me is just about combining your business goals with your personal goals and ensuring you're operating from a place of desire. So you're operating from a place of deeply understanding who you are and moving in the direction of a life that feels more pleasurable. Now, what I mean by that, if you want to go as far as pleasurable in the bedroom, then yes, by all means. I think all entrepreneurs should be... I was going to say well fucked, but you said not to swear, but I did. I had to say it. It wouldn't have had the same effect if I didn't. But pleasure actually goes deeper than that. That is kind of surface level pleasure. So pleasure could be walking barefoot on the grass and actually spending the time to feel the sensations that are running through your body as you walk barefoot on the grass. Pleasure could be walking along the beach and feeling the wind caress your skin and having the capacity to be present in that moment to feel the sensations that are rippling across your body. For me, it's success with fulfillment and true purpose, and not just the desire to have something because we feel a lack of something else. I need to be successful to prove that I'm worthy, or I need to build bigger, more, faster because I'm not fulfilled with what I currently have. So yeah, for me, this principle of pleasure in business is almost the luxury of being present in your life. And I say that because for a lot of entrepreneurs, presence tends to feel like a luxury because a lot of people are so busy focusing on what's next. They're not truly with what's right here, right now.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah. Definitely. So, you talk a lot about scaling without losing yourself. So, uh, if you can share a key strategy to help entrepreneurs find that balance, like,
Yeah, outsourcing. So one of the systems that we use is looking at where entrepreneurs specifically, especially as they're wanting to grow, are potentially holding on to control,
hmm,
aren't trusting people to support them along their journey, and where they need to implement systems, processes, people, structures inside of their business that are going to free up more time for them to focus working on the business rather than in the business. And inside of that process, also working on the mindset and the self-awareness and the internal growth that they need to step into becoming the leaders that can actually lead multi 7 or 8 figure businesses.
okay, got it. And like many of us believe that building an empire which requires sacrificing personal happinesses as well. So, how do you respond to that?
Bullshit. I'm on my way to having 2 7 figure companies, and my intention is to take them to multi 7 figures. And I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
I think it is more of this illusion, or if your desire for success or your desire for money comes from a place of lack inside of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the catalyst. It's like, I don't sacrifice anything. In fact, I use my business as a catalyst of transformation to ensure that I'm not sacrificing. I use it to reflect the way I relate, the way that I love myself, the way that I treat myself, the relationship that I have with myself. So, from that lens and from that place, it's actually the only way that I can build a life that doesn't feel like I'm sacrificing. And truly, there was actually a part of me that for a period of time that shamed this desire for success, that shamed this hunger for more, that shamed the entrepreneur and the badass businesswoman in me. And it was actually from that place that I felt like I was sacrificing, because it's like I felt like I wasn't truly feminine or woman enough, or wasn't following these rules of like polarity or femininity. And it's like I had to give up a part of me, or I felt like I had to give up a part of me to fit into a mold of what society deems to be acceptable for a feminine woman. So actually, it's been the biggest catalyst for me to realize that my power is in the full spectrum of what makes me the woman that I am.
Okay, that's great. And so, as someone who's overcome the intense adversity,
Yes.
how do you think that your personal journey shapes the way you lead today?
Hmm. It has definitely instilled a level of resilience,
And
a level of gratitude. And at the same time, I want to say anyone can access this, but I think people specifically that come from adversity tend to access it a little bit easier, or they can use their circumstances to build excuses and to not create the life of their dreams. But yeah, I want to say what I realized actually was, even, in all the moments that were scary or confronting, that I have kind of realized over the years that I was always there. I always had my back. I was always in my corner. I was always making sure that I got out of whatever situations I got myself in. So yeah, I think it actually reinforced my self-trust, even if sometimes it took me on like the long road to get there.
wow, lovely. So that's lovely, yeah. And so for all the listeners, like who may feel trapped in that hustle mindset, what's the first step towards redefining success and pleasure? What would you say?
I actually think it's getting, so I play in the world of Tantra.
Uh-huh.
I'm a badass business coach, but I would say my hobby, the lens in which I view the world and the principles that I live by are based on this game or desire for inner harmony.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, what I see in women that, like struggling to find the balance, is that internal relationship is out of harmony.
Okay.
Because, sometimes I work 10 hours a day, but I don't shame myself when I do that. I don't say that I'm hustling. I don't even feel like I'm hustling. I'm just so in service to the mission that I'm here to deliver that I'm in like a flow state of like fully immersed in what I'm doing and the lives I'm going to change on the other side. I think what happens is we sort of look at what everyone else says we should be or shouldn't be or have or shouldn't have, or, I even talk about hustle culture and I don't condone it. But for me, it's the motivation and the energy of where it's coming from versus it's like, to me, hustle is often I need to be busy all of the time, even if I have nothing to do. I need to find something to do and I need to constantly be in motion or movement. Now, I'm in a building, like I'm building at the moment. I've got like a lot of life force. I've got a lot of energy behind me. I've got a lot of momentum. So I'm working a lot. But inside of that relationship, I'll go and like lay in the sun for 2 hours a day and just be. I will feel where I'm overworking, or I'll feel where I've, dropped out of aligned action and maybe into just action for action's sake. And when I catch myself in that moment, I'm like, all right, pause. And I'll go lay in the sun and I'll meditate, or I'll literally just lay in the sun and I will like intentionally create space to then find out where my motivation's coming from. And if I lay there and I'm like, no, actually, I know what aligned action I need to take, and there's more that I want to be doing right now, I'll come back to my computer and I'll get more things done. But if that time out of my focus and devotion to what I'm doing helps me to uncover an unhealthy belief, like I need to be busy in order to be successful, or I'm pushing because I feel like I need to achieve something, I'll like call it quits on the day and intentionally pour more into like my rest and receivership. So, I'll go to the beach or go get a facial or go get a massage. And because my business is set up to be so flexible, I don't need to be rigid in the ways in which I grow.
Okay, got it. Perfect. So, is there any specific somatic practice or maybe the self-care ritual that you use to keep grounded in both your life and the business, if you want to share?
Breathwork. So I'm a breathwork facilitator. Breathwork is what I call my gateway drug. Breathwork was the first thing that I did that actually brought me into this awareness in all the ways that I was disconnected from myself and disconnected from my pleasure and disconnected from my life. And so, when I go lay in the sun, if I notice myself, mindlessly being busy, I will drop into a breathwork practice. I'll breathe all the way down into my womb, for men all the way down into your lower abdomen, and I will just breathe here for at least 30 minutes and empty out my mind and really intentionally drop back into my body and continue to ask myself, I want to say like deepening questions as to where my motivation is coming from, what my intentions are. I really just use it as a method to connect back to myself in deeper ways.
Wow. It's more about, connecting with yourself, your inner self, basically, where you are trying to disconnect with all the maybe issues, thinkings, or the stress, everything.
Yes.
So that's a great way. That's a great way. Yeah. Yeah. And from the perspective of pleasure, right? Is there ever a point where ambition can backfire? What do you say?
Yeah, if you're not building a connection with your body along the way, if we're all mind, no body, we're actually disconnected from our pleasure because we feel our pleasure. Pleasure. We don't think about pleasure. Any growth or ambition that makes it okay to sacrifice ourselves in the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so how can someone recognize that before it's too late?
Yeah. Numbness. So if you want to talk about pleasure specifically, and specifically for women, a lot of women that are disconnected from their body and disconnected from themselves have a lot of sexual numbness. Even anxiety can be forms of pushing too hard and not actually allowing pleasure in your life. Stress is huge, and stress, especially the cortisol spikes that can come from stressing, can actually also counteract pleasure hormones or remove sex drives if you're going to relate it again to sexuality. But anything that disconnects you from the somatic feeling of being in your body and being present and being able to feel.
Wow, that's awesome. I'd say, yeah. Thanks for sharing this, and also, like, for everyone, for the listeners, who feel torn between growth and staying authentic. So, how do you help leaders integrate both?
Yeah. I use their business as a tool to reflect back to them who they actually are and who they need to become to hold the next level of their business. Now, I don't just do somatics. I don't just do breath work. My work is deeply steeped in strategy, and I have the capacity to systemize, outsource, implement marketing and growth strategies in businesses. It's what I've done time and time again in my own businesses for all of my clients. But I don't only operate in the mind.
Okay.
And I use our businesses or overwhelm or shut down or stress as a deep self-reflection tool to actually help leaders be introspective in all the ways in which they're not truly showing up for their lives in a way that feels good. Oftentimes I see leaders that have lives that look good, like I've got them multi-million-dollar business or this multi-six-figure business, and their Instagram looks great, but they're so disconnected and they don't understand joy or happiness, either, not even pleasure, even just like happiness. But I also understand the fear around losing success. And I have the capacity to hold leaders in, we're not sacrificing here. I'm not saying that you can't have a multi-million-dollar business. In fact, I want you to have a multi-million-dollar business, and I know the ways to help you get there. But it's also, one of my pillars is mastery, and the mastery in itself is actually understanding what you're doing it for. Why do you want the big business? Why do you want the success? And how can you master your self-relationship whilst building the business of your dreams? And it can be really supportive to have someone hold your hand in that process who's done it all before.
Exactly. That's very true. Yeah, lovely. Great. So, Lezly, thank you so much for such an inspiring and, I'd say, honest and eye-opening conversation. So, like, you have actually shown us like that pleasure and the purpose can coexist, and that real success includes thriving both personally and professionally. So thank you so much for this. And for the listeners, I would love to mention, like, I hope that this episode leaves you feeling empowered to redefine what it means to succeed, like, without compromising who you are today. So, yeah. And before we wrap, Lezly, if someone wants to connect with you, wants to have a discussion about maybe for in any of the topics that we have discussed today, so how they can connect with you?
Yeah, jump across to my Instagram, check the show notes for how to spell my name, because Lezly spelt with a Z, Lezly Kaye on all major platforms. Slide into my DMs. I would be honored to start a conversation and see if there's any way I can help.
Perfect, perfect. So, dear listeners, what I'll do, I'll put the Instagram link into the show notes so that it will be much easier for all of you to reach out to her. And yeah, so until next time, remember that your journey to a healthy mind and healthy life can be one filled with joy, resilience, and the impact. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.